and this crazy new formula. How many of y'all tried the new formula last night? And you're still sitting here? That's amazing. Y'all woke up, thank God. Okay. And so what I want to talk about is just some very general things. So I'm going to fly through this. Feel free to take pictures of the slides if you want to. There's nothing secretive here, unlike last time. Let's just get right to it. So, disclaimer, I'm being paid for this. I talk about clinical trials here, but it does not apply to every single person. You guys don't have to take a picture of the disclaimer, it's just legal stuff. So there's a lot of animal studies that I quote as well sometimes, but make sure you understand that safety is always number one. We do no harm, so that's number one before making money, before satisfying yourself, before anything else. We do no harm. Yes? 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 Okay, good. Good. Thank you so much for that. And so, this has not been evaluated by the FDA to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any diseases. And so, I want to talk straight up about what calm is. So, who's tried it last night once again? Okay, a lot of you. Okay. So, the story behind this is wanted to create something that was very balancing, that helped people at nighttime. And it also creates something that's really, really, truly special. So I'm going to tell you about how special this is. So you guys heard of the circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is basically your body's understanding of the day-night cycle. Okay, so your day-night cycles are, we call it day-night mismatch. It's a root cause of most chronic disorders. So a lot of brain fog, low energy, depressed mood, and memory issues. And so let's talk about what calm really is and how it really affects the circadian rhythm disorder. So it's a combination of botanicals, organic source hemp, and overall extract blend, and something called neurotransmitter nutraceuticals. So this is it right here. It's on your bottles, so you don't have to take a picture of this, but if you want to, you can. So there's cannabinoids, terpenes, botanicals, and some neurotransmitter activators, okay? And so you guys want to know what neurotransmitters are? Okay, they're components within our body that make the neurons talk to each other, all right? And so our neurotransmitters dictate everything that we do in the way that we feel, how we sleep, how active we are. And so let's break it down a little bit. So what did a lot of you take last night? So L-theanine, the pure form is called sun-theanine. It's found in green tea. You guys had green tea before? Okay, so even though green tea sometimes contain more caffeine than coffee, green tea is shown for relaxation. And the reason is because it's got a really high L-theanine. So nature produced caffeine, but nature is able to combat it with something called L-theanine. If you guys drink really good quality coffees, by the way, that also does the same thing. So coffee is not supposed to make you jittery. If it is, that means there's too many toxins in there. And so the human clinical trials have been shown that they need to produce a really awesome alert state of relaxation. So that's kind of weird, alert state of relaxation. And so what I want you to understand is as you are waking up from the chill, that's what I want you to feel is an alert state of relaxation, okay? There's multiple trials of theanines on depression. It's really safe, battle stress, anxiety, and blood pressure. It helps with attention deficit. All right, and there's something called pharmagaba. So you guys like kimchi? That's kimchi. Yeah, kimchi. Yeah. So kimchi is a Korean dish. It's Korean fermented vegetables, specifically nap cabbage. But the GABA is actually made from this organism called Lactobacillus hogardi, and it's a beneficial bacteria. And so what pharmagaba does is it increases the production of something called alpha waves while reducing beta waves. So alpha waves are the waves that allow you to focus. It's more of a calm state. Beta is like you're just doing stuff. You're just like a robot doing stuff, like Frank the Tank.
Recording devices off. Have to be off. You can take pictures,
yeah, don't
but
video.
You can't record this.
Yeah.
If you're caught, I have no idea what'll happen, but I'm just saying.
JT will spank you in your car. All right. Yeah, don't video this, please. Yes, you can take pictures if you want to. So pharmagaba has been shown to help fight extreme stress, and it's also been shown to improve the immune system. Like I said, I have a lot of slides, I'm going really fast. And GABA is helpful for people to cope with stress and a significant reduction of perceived stress by more than 1/2. So you guys get the theme here, sleep and stress, yeah? Sleep and stress and that alert, wake, and calm. And then you have something called magnesium L-theanine. This is my favorite ingredient that's actually in the calm. It's not even a cannabinoid, so this is magnesium L-theanine. So this one helps learning and memory, and it crosses into the blood-brain barrier really, really fast, even if it's a non-liposomal. But the fact that we put in the liposome is a lot faster, and it makes it really awesome. So L-theanine helps decrease the protein, can help decrease the protein buildup in the brain that's associated with memory loss. It's called something called beta amyloid. It activates immune cells in the brain for cleanup, help restore memory. Okay. So recap real quick: magnesium, GABA, L-theanine. They all help calm the brain and all help with the focus aspect of the brain. And specifically magnesium is part of the detoxification mechanism of the brain. Got it so far? All right. I'll recap every few slides because I know I'm talking really fast. And then magnesium L-theanine is something that we like to use in our practice for pain. It helps with nerve pain, helps improve short-term memory. And you guys heard of chemo brain? Who's been through chemotherapy, by the way? You've been through chemotherapy? Who else? Back there? 3? Who else? Okay, so round of applause for y'all.
Wow, yeah, seriously.
So happy for you. Very happy for you. In my practice, we're starting a cancer prevention and cancer healing group, and part of our mainstay is actually magnesium L-theanine, as well as pharma-GABA, as well as a lot of the aspects that's already in calm. I'm about to continue on and talk about. So magnesium L-theanine helps sleep activation. I used to look like that guy in medical school. It helps with muscular relaxation. And you guys heard of like taking the Epsom salt bath and kind of relax you. It's very similar type of relaxation. You guys heard of flotation tanks, like isolation flotation tank? It's like real calming and detoxing. If you haven't, I really suggest you try it. And so magnesium also helps muscle relaxation, improvement of serotonin and melatonin. What does serotonin do? Makes you happy. What does melatonin do?
Helps you sleep.
Makes you sleepy. So you can't have melatonin without serotonin. All melatonin in the body is made from serotonin. So the fact that you're able to sleep, that means you have enough serotonin to do it. So the sleepless and the sad is really common. So we want to combat that by being happy and sleepy, right? And so L-tryptophan is the precursor to serotonin, which makes you happy. And of course, serotonin is the precursor to melatonin, which makes you sleepy. And it really crossed the blood-brain barrier. This is the thing that people say, oh, I eat too much turkey, it makes me sleepy. Actually, that's completely myth. It doesn't do that at all. Real quick side note. So what L-tryptophan does is very interesting. So most of you don't know this. There's almost as much L-tryptophan in chicken as there is in turkey. So the real reason behind that sleepiness during the Thanksgiving meals, because what else are we eating in Thanksgiving? Carbs, sugars, right? Possibly some food dyes, right? Possibly some sugar substitutes if they're trying to be carb conscious, right? And all those things actually, in the gut, they create a low source of inflammation. As that inflammation continues to go up and up and up and up and up, what happens is that your body's neurotransmitter starts to activate the sleep process. So that's called a food coma, right? Most people call it food coma. So food comas are not supposed to exist. If you eat something and you have food coma, that means you just created inflammation for yourself, okay? Y'all got it? Cool. Food comas, who knew? L-tryptophan improves happiness and relieves anxiety. It helps the gut bacteria activate serotonin. So did you guys know that 85% of the neurotransmitters activate in the gut, not up here, but down here? So this is why the gut is called the second brain. I think it should be called the first brain. And it increases the sleepiness state as well. So once again, recap. L-tryptophan, precursor for the neurotransmitter to make you happy, and the neurotransmitter to make you sleepy. All right? Helps with happiness, sleepiness, helps with anxiety. Ashwagandha. This is everyone's favorite. Everyone loves ashwagandha. This ashwagandha is actually a big part of my history. I was born in China, and I wake up every morning with the smell of boiling ashwagandha my grandfather makes at his clinic downstairs from his Chinese medicine clinic. So when I smell it, it makes me feel real happy. So of course, we've got to include it in here, right? Ashwagandha has a lot of studies. It is the most studied botanical it is probably the second most studied botanical, right behind berberine. You guys know what berberine is, right? And so, but ashwagandha is an adaptogen, which means it helps with hormone and brain balance. It's a balancing act, right? It helps with something called fatty liver disease, which can impair detox. It helps with that fatty liver disease detox pathways. And it also helps protect the brain from inflammation and induces sleep. So, okay, real quick quiz. What are the 4 detox organs of the body?
Liver,
Skin,
kidneys,
liver,
lungs,
did someone say butt? Oh, gut, yeah, the gut. What else?
lungs,
The kidneys? Okay, well I said there's 4, right? Okay, well there's a 5th one that we just found out in 2017. You know what it is?
bladder,
It's something called astrocytes. Okay, astrocytes are cells that align with your brain cells. And the astrocytes do what for the brain circulation, what kidneys does for the rest of our circulation and filters, all right? And it turns out that ashwagandha, along with cannabidiols and cannabigerol, or CBD and CBG, also help the astrocytes develop something called a podocyte connection, so that it becomes that master filter is far more robust, all right? So you guys know a whole lot more than most docs now. Passion flower is so pretty. Passion flower, this is used to help reduce anxiety, help with insomnia, upregulates GABA in the brain. So GABA, okay, let me talk about GABA real quick. What GABA is also a neurotransmitter, and there's different forms of GABA receptors in our brain. So GABA is what makes us calm, right? So when doctors prescribe something like Xanax, okay, it's supposed to upregulate the GABA receptors in your brain, but most of GABA is actually activated in the gut. And we know that specific things also activate GABA in unison. So cannabinoids and passion flower and L-threonate, magnesium threonate. So you guys know why the complex is in here, okay? And lemon balm. Anyone drink lemon balm? Yeah, it's good, right? Yeah, it's a great stress reducer. It helps reduce anxiety. It may even improve brain function, and it actually helps improve sleep. And so what's great about all these different things is that I am repeating the same things over and over again, which is really awesome because you guys understand from a holistic 30,000 feet point of view that everything helps with anxiety and sleep, okay? And depression. Valerian root. So valerian root is something that was used for perfume a long time ago, but now it's used for its anti-anxiety, sedating, and calming effect. So a lot of the nighttime teas, the herbal teas, have a lot of this contained within it as well. Okay, so this is the recap. All right, so who is calm for? Can't sleep, anxious, low libido, and miserable. Okay, this is you guys. This is the only slide that you guys really need to know about this. Okay, are y'all laughing because like, oh my God, that's me? Like, is that, yeah? But do you guys know anybody like that? Okay, you might not know their libido, but you know they can't sleep and they're anxious, right? And they're miserable. So John Taylor at his talk just talked about the Doritos, Cheetos, and Chick-fil-A. All right, he stole that from me, by the way. All right, because those are the 3 highest containing components of MSG, monosodium glutamate. So glutamate, which becomes the glutamic acid, is very excitatory. And so that excitatory neurotransmitter inhibits the calming down activity of the brain. So a lot of exposure to that causes this, okay? And if you translate that into the child or teenage population, it can produce attention deficit disorder, ADHD symptoms, all right? So calm is supposed to help combat that, all right? And so, you guys got the slide? Yeah. So I'm gonna focus on each of the letters for a second, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because each of the letters represents a trial that we've had. And so this is the sleep trial at Texas Center for Lifestyle Medicine. So pretty much 25 out of 25 people had improvement quality of sleep. 7 people reported stopped their sleep aids, and 5 people stopped their pharmaceutical sleep medicines with assistance of their doctor or doctors. Okay, that's good, right? Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so the A is anxious, anxiety trial. So 23 out of 25 people rated improved anxiety within 1 dose, 100% within 1 week. 11 people reported replaced their anxiety supplements, and 2 people stopped the pharmaceuticals. So that's also great, right?
wow.
Okay. By the way, please don't play doctor and tell whoever you're talking to stop drugs. That's for physicians to do, okay? And so, believe it or not, physicians are more than happy to get someone off of medicine if they found a natural alternative. All right, I'll tell you that straight up. And so please do no harm. Always do no harm, correct? Libido. So this is a more interesting study. So 12 people, six men and 6 women. Now they actually have a history of low libido, and actually all of them scored better within 1 week. And then this is called a 65-item sexual desire questionnaire. Okay, I gave it to John Taylor, but he wouldn't answer him. Just kidding. I'm just picking on him. You didn't say that at all. I actually gave it to Jonas. All right. So the N is miserable, okay? And there's something called a HAM-D, which is Hamilton Depression Rating Scale. And this is the same 12 people of history of low libido, and they all reported scores better within 1 week. Okay, I would love to show you results of this on a nice, pretty graph. We just don't have time because there's so many more. All right, and so, actually I did, I lied. Okay, so this is depression anxiety markers with scoring for improvements. And so this is just over 14 days. We actually extended this to 3 months. So we're in month 2 of the 3 months. So next conference I'll talk about that. So what this shows is that people had a significantly improved anxiety scores, much better than actually I anticipated, which is awesome. And by the way, this is taking Calm 1 dropperful at nighttime, okay, per night, with no increased dose, nothing like that. There's 3 people that we had to decrease the dose because they slept a little too much, okay? So if you guys are having too much of a sleepiness effect, or people are saying it's too much, then respect that, listen to your body, all right? CJ, respect your body, all right? If you take, some people will take, we have one person that took 2 drops and was out for a long time. But now she's actually able to work her up way to 1 full dropper after about 3 days. So people do have a little bit of a calm effect, maybe overly calm in the beginning. But this is something that we actually did. So summary, it works, take it, all right? It's so funny, remember taking a picture of this, but it works, take it. I made it very Nike. So that's basically the summary of what calm is. And so let's talk about Recept. I call it the golden child. And so Recept, I'm gonna go through the basics, and then I'm gonna rush through a lot of the intricacies that's behind Recept, because I want to spend more time on the actual studies and how it helps people. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So who's never heard me talk? Oh, a lot. Okay. So I like to give a lot of data, but I like to summarize it if you can't tell. Okay. If you are not catching up and writing frantically, just know that there's going to be a summary after I go through a few slides. All right? Thank you. No problem. And so, ooh, that was way too fast. Okay, Recept is an acronym. The R in Recept is reactive, so it's reactive endocannabinoid polyterpene formula. That's what Recept stands for, okay? So why is it reactive? It's liposomal. Acts faster, stays longer, nanosonicated to get to the nanoparticle level. And what it is these nanoparticles are actually liposomes. And you see that little liposome that's in the sphere. Inside the sphere is something we call an active. Active is basically anything that we put inside it for the delivery process, and this is exactly how Recept as well as Calm is formulated. And so what you see here, these are actually liposomes, and they have varying sizes. And so what the nanosonification is to try to make it much smaller so that I can get through what's called the membranes within the cell structure, all right? And so basically that is a really busy slide just saying that it works really fast. And I did compare it to like heroin, cocaine, and all the stuff I don't recommend anyone taking or experimenting with. But it seems to be a whole lot faster than those components as well. Okay? And the EC stands for endocannabinoids. So most people here know what hemp is and endocannabinoids are. So I'll go through it. CBD and CBG are the 2 stars of the show. The THC is undetectable here. Okay? And so you guys heard of the entourage effect? So me and my homies can do more than you by yourself, right? That's the entourage effect, basically. And so in Recept, you have CBD, CBG, beta-caryophyllene terpenes, all the terpenes that are listed over there. And that entourage is supposed to precipitate a desired effect. Now, what's interesting is we were assuming these effects up until the clinical trials have been done. And that's actually why we tweaked the formula just a little bit more to make it a whole lot better, just based on the human trial. So I hope you guys are okay with that. Awesome. Okay, so what is the entourage effect? It's basically an orchestra of all components that are harmoniously playing together for impactful health data. So this is the guy that we talked about it back in 1998. So who is in the Recept entourage? CBD, CBG, the terpenes. And let me just give you a quick overview of the science behind this, because this is on my YouTube channel, and I don't want to belabor this. So there's different benefits of cannabidiol in the brain. Cannabidiol is CBD. So it's one of the components of Recept, non-psychogenic. It helps with anxiety and depression, as we know, brain protection, anti-inflammatory effects. And so CBD can also be helping in traumatic brain injury. The reason we have a traumatic brain injury trial, which by the way we have a traumatic brain injury trial in the clinic, is because of these studies that were done right here. And so you guys will see what bullet number 5 means on a theta-beta ratio, which we took really awesome technology called a neuroscan, and we hooked people up to an EEG, and we actually able to see what it did. And so we know that CBD improves a lot of pain. Once again, when I say CBD, I'm only talking about cannabidiol. I'm not talking about whole hemp here, okay? So CBD improves, it's shown to improve pain after surgery, suppresses pain from inflammation, and helps with relapse drug use, okay? Once again, don't be doctors. Understand that there's data behind all this, but do no harm, okay? Please let the professionals come in and actually give their judgments. And you just want to be there to provide some education. So CBG, cannabigerol, is non-psychoactive and specifically the parent compound of THC and other cannabinoids. So in the plant, CBG is like the grandfather compound. It's able to differentiate into the other cannabinoids. All right, it's really rare and expensive ingredients. I'm not sure how Paul's able to get his hands on it, but I'm very happy he did. And many breeds of hemp are actually classified for higher CBG levels, especially modern day. So what you guys also may not know is that there's 2 companies racing to make a CBG isolate medication, one for seizure disorder and the other one for multiple sclerosis. But I guess we beat them to the punch. So, here's the latest thing on CBG. So I'm just talking about the 2019s. So someone decided it was a good idea to inject pure CBG into the brain of mice, and we're able to see that it actually helps protect it against damage. And there's another study that looked at increased brain cell growth and Huntington's disease in animal models. Just because it's in animals does not mean it works in humans, but this is just an education for you guys, okay? Don't practice medicine. And it actually helps with fat metabolism. So I talked to a couple people who use it as a pre-workout. One as a post-workout, one uses it as a pre-workout, right? And so they're able to find that they seem to have a whole lot more energy and get much better results. So, and a 2018 study showed prevention of complication of diabetes. And so CBG in the skin decreases allergic contact dermatitis. This is probably because that all cannabinoids, not just CBG, stabilizes something called mast cells. Mast cells in the body release something called histamine, and histamine causes the typical histamine effect, the sneeze, the runny eyes, and even contact dermatitis. And it's shown to have antioxidant properties as well. So this is the latest updates on CBGs. Does anyone know what CBG was originally found to be helpful for? There's an ophthalmologist in the room. Where is she? There you go.
Glaucoma?
For improving eye pressure and glaucoma, right? So that was the very original one that was seen a while ago. And I am not great on time. Let me just keep going. Okay, and then the latest findings. This is very, very recent. And CBG may be helping with chemotherapy side effects and poor appetite. This study is funded by another pharmaceutical company I've never heard of. And I think what they're trying to do is get to the chemo patients and provide CBG isolate for that patient population. But all these studies, there's so many studies in 2019 because once again, there's the race, right? Okay, and then Recept is what it stands for. So terpenes, let's go to terpenes real quick. So they're aromatic compounds that are found in plants, and they give the plants a unique smell and taste, and they have their own health benefits as well. And they have their own mechanisms of action. So there's beta-carotenoid. I'm gonna fly through these, okay? Because there's just a lot. When you notice that when I speak about the terpenes, a lot of these terpenes have very similar data to the cannabinoids, and that's probably for a reason, right? So it helps with pain, it helps antioxidant activity, anti-anxiety, pain decrease, terpenoline, antifungal properties, calming effect, and limonene. It's actually in a lot of citrus. It helps with various different things, including battling against specific bacteria, and helps protect against a lot of inflammation. Linalool, I know y'all think it's linalool, it's linalool, because who knows molecular chemistry here? There's a hydroxy group at the very top, which means it's all at the end, so that's why it's called linalool. Whenever you see the hydroxy group, this is a type of alcohol, but it's not the alcohol that you think, it's just the alcohol component. Whenever you see that, that means there's a lot of activity going across the blood-brain barrier to help with the brain battling all sorts of different things like anxiety, and helps with calm as well. Myrcene. So this one helps with peripheral pain, has some anti-inflammatory effects, helps with insomnia and antipsychotic effect as well. And then humulene. And humulene has a lot of different things, but one thing I do want to talk about humulene is that what we now know about humulene is that whenever we give higher amounts of humulene, it's the effect that most people kind of experience is reset. Someone told me earlier that they take reset and they're getting up in the morning and they're so focused and ready to go and they're ready to hit the gym, right? Whereas before they may be kind of tired. Humulene has a very interesting effect where it's able to focus the body kind of temporarily, and then when the cannabinoids take over, it starts the balancing effect. And this is what I think a majority of what the experience of reset is. Now, not surprisingly, this is not in the calm formula, because the calm formula, we're trying to shut the brain down for the night's sleep, right? And there's geraniol, which is all sorts of other different things as well. So who's reset for? This is the I told you this is a summary slide. So who's reset for? People, the forgetful, the obsessive, can't concentrate, unproductive, and slow. And that just happens to come up with an acronym called FOCUS. So think, focus with reset, right? Think, focus, all right? And so there's chill and there's focus. Chill, nighttime, calm and focus. Calm makes you chill at nighttime, and then focus makes you focus during the daytime. It is how I take it, but everyone has different effects, so I do play around with it a little bit. So the calm is basically an answer to everything that the recept doesn't do. So the recept may turn people's brain on a little too much. For me, if I take it at nighttime, I'm hyper-focused on a project. I get a lot of stuff done, but actually inhibits my sleep. So I take it during the daytime so I get good sleep. And now what the calm formula does is that helped me take that balancing last night. Helps me balance out, okay, ready for the day the next day. So you guys understand how that works? Okay. Once again, the acronym FOCUS, each of the letters represents a study that we've done. So let's talk about forgetful. This is by far the most interesting study. So this is a memory deficit trial. So 166 people. That's a lot, by the way. That's the big study on cannabinoids. Reported short-term and long-term memory issues for 1 year. And so these are the improvements that we actually see. And so this is interesting. So this is something called a peak alpha or posterior peak alpha, and this is a EEG terminology that shows us how well someone's activating their cognitive process, okay? A peak alpha below 8.0 demonstrate that people, this is one of the earliest EEG markers of Alzheimer's dementia, okay? So out of 166 people, they had a median peak alpha of 7.8. So these people actually have early markers of dementia on the EEG. And so as far as we know, we don't know anything that can reverse markers of dementia, but apparently this does. So awesome, right? Yeah. And so what happens is that peak alpha improves to 9.7. So what that basically means is that it actually went back to normal. So I've heard of so many testimonials of RECEP today, and the most robust is really people getting back a lot of the short-term memory loss and long-term memory loss experiences after a couple months, right? You guys told me that, right? Yeah. And so for those who are new here, the people who have been on this the longest, that's the one thing that was probably the most special for us. Because like I said, this peak alpha improvement, we don't, in science and neurology, there's nothing that we know that can really mimic this, other than maybe some omega-3s and some high-dose vitamin D together, but it doesn't have this dramatic effect, so this is very surprising. So next Thursday when I show this to a room of neurologists, this is gonna be the one thing that's gonna be talked about the most. And so, so we use the quality of life score as well. So we don't just care about what's on the damn machine. What we really care about is how you feel, right? And so we went through this something called QOL-AD scale, which is AD stands for Alzheimer's dementia. And so it talks about physical health, energy level, mood, a lot of different things on here. So every aspect of life that we see right here. So this is far more dramatic than I thought it would be. So this is a scoring system, and this is a 60-state study that looked at significant improvements in quality of life. People were less depressed, less anxious, felt better about themselves, had a lot more self-confidence. And it's, you know, talk about confidence in a bottle, that's, you know, that's now Recept, you know. And so what this shows us is that the correlation between what we see in the brain and the EEG has a direct correlation to what we see clinically. So that's always a really good thing. Okay, the O. All right, the O stands for obsessive. All right, so the obsessive stands for OCD, or obsessive compulsive trial. So we have 46 people, either diagnosed with self-reported OCD for at least 1 year. And we use something called the Yale-Brown Obsessive Compulsive Scale. And what this does is that it allows us to really have an understanding of how people, of how obsessive compulsive someone is. And the reason we use this is because it's a really standard scale, and it gives us a quantitative measurement of how people do. So if I'm talking about it, I guess we did well, right? Okay. Who's very obsessive compulsive? Just curious. All of you? Okay. Everyone has like the right angle on their like paper notepad, and it's next to it, right? And so, this is very interesting. So, by the way, the lower the better, obviously. And so this is a 30-day study, and people's self-reported, obsessive compulsive scale is significantly better. Okay, this one is a little bit special because we actually compared it against 3 other CBDs, and this outperformed all 3. And what's even more interesting is that the other 3 has 0 effect on people on the obsessive compulsive scale. Okay, so it's kind of cool, right? Yeah. And I really think it's because of the terpenes that are in there. Everyone talks about the hemp and everything like that. Terpenes is a little side note, but I want to make sure that everyone respects the humulene, respects all the terpenes that are in there, because it creates something of a focus effect that's significantly different than anything else on the market, okay? It creates that effect that's we're able to see these scores, and we're able to see massive changes, not just on the imaging, but on the actual clinical outcomes. Okay, so dumping that down, what it means is it works, use it, right? All right. And can't concentrate. So this is an attention deficit. Who has attention deficit? Who thinks they may have attention deficit? Like the whole room. Where's John Taylor? He wants to have his hand up. And so, people who have attention deficit, squirrel. Just kidding. People with attention deficit are not just deficit of attention, it actually impedes their lifestyle, okay? It may impede relationships. You guys know people with a lot of attention deficit issues can have relationship problems, sometimes they have business problems, right? Sometimes they have issues doing things. And so what we really found out in the attention deficit trial is that this is something called an ASRS, which is a self-reporting scale with all aspects of their life. Once again, the lower the better. The higher the score, the number, the worse it is. And so this is pretty dramatic because most of the effect you see is on the 7-day questionnaire, right? So questionnaire 1, and then 7 days, 14, 21, 30. So there is a balancing effect that balances out, but it's pretty dramatic. And in a week, we're seeing this improvement in scales, and most of the people report improvements within the first dose, so that's actually quite good. And these people are told to take 2 droppers at daytime. That's it. Okay, 2 dropperfuls at daytime, and they did significantly well as well. Are you guys understanding this? Okay, you guys understand it's the most robust human data we have on hemp ever? So be excited. And so this really blows my mind because we're really contributing to something in the society and the world that's far more special than I ever anticipated. And what we're doing is we're creating this culture. And we're creating this culture of understanding, a culture that's really science-backed, and that's backed by human emotions, because what we really want to do, the reason y'all are in here is we just want to help people, right? Yeah. Help people make money, right, I assume? Right. And so the more you know about stuff like this, the better it is, the tools it is for help you. And so whenever I show these things, okay, I want you to understand that whenever we show these things, we show them with an understanding that you will not practice medicine, okay?
Right.
Okay, do not practice medicine. Help people, but do no harm, all right? So the reason I say this, I get so many questions about, hey, this person's on this medicine, and they're on this medicine, yada, yada, yada. Like, if they're on medicine, I'm not going to talk about it, because I'm not going to talk about it to you because you're not a physician. Unless there are actually multiple physicians in the group. Unless you are a physician, you can make that decision for your patients. But if you're not, please don't play doctor. It is excruciatingly important. And never force the situation. Okay, never put a square peg into a round hole. If they're in a life situation where any of the components here may have 80.1% chance of damaging those people, please just don't recommend it. Okay, do no harm. Y'all make sense? Yes. Okay, the reason I said that is because the next one I talk about has to do with cardiovascular markers. The minute I say that people have improvement in heart, people get super excited and tell all their buddies that your heart's gonna be strong as an ox. Okay? So I want to talk about the S that's in the FOCUS acronym, which stands for slow. And so 120 people were actually on home monitors for blood pressure and heart rate variability. Through this smartwatch technology that we have, as well as a blood pressure cuff. Okay, who knows anyone with blood pressure issues? Okay. Do you know why people have high blood pressure?
There's stress.
Stress, okay. One, diet.
Not exercising.
Someone's got to be louder than the rest so I can hear. Smoking, okay. Inflammation. They don't have recept. That's the real reason. They're born recept deficient, right? They don't have the recept that activates that's not true. But I can tell you that the reason people have high blood pressure is because the blood pressure is saying there's something wrong in the body. Can we understand it? There's something that's wrong in the body, okay? And while everything that y'all said were true, it could be a combination of different things. And so it's not just they're taking too much salt or too much carbs, they eat processed foods, a lot more than that, because we have a lot of healthy people with blood pressure issues for other different reasons. And so we took these people with blood pressure issues, but these people only have blood pressure issues. They didn't have heart disease, they didn't have diabetes, they didn't have strokes. These are healthy people with blood pressure issues, and they have no idea why they have blood pressure issues. Got it? Okay, so most of your friends that you know with blood pressure issues have other stuff going on, right? Okay, and the people that were on this study, they're generally between the BMI of 22 and 29, so they're not obese, so we select a healthy population for this, okay? Because why? We want to do no harm, because we want to know how it does on a relatively healthy population, all right? And you guys know what heart rate variability is? Okay, so heart rate variability, what it is exactly what it sounds like. It's how variable your heart rate is when you do something. So you guys have heard of heart rate recovery, right? So basically after exercise, how long does your heart rate take to come back to its baseline? So heart rate variability, what in science we call SDNN, and heart rate recovery are markers that we look for to see usually how fit someone is in terms of cardiovascular and metabolic fitness, okay? So this is why the reason we looked at this is because it's purely accidental, okay? So I found about 10 patients who actually had significant improvements because we were monitoring them for a completely different reason. And when they were on Recept, we received massive shifts within 1 or 2 days, and I ended up having to take a lot of these people off of medicine after the second or third day. I'm like, what is going on?
Wow.
So that's the reason we even looked at this in the first place. In fact, that's the That's the reason why we're going to continue to look at this on a lot of different dimensions, exactly what's going on. So right now, we're just looking at people who are relatively healthy with high blood pressure, but we're going to look at people with other comorbidity as well. And comorbidity just means that they have other diseases along with high blood pressure that could be contributing, okay? And so this is improvement in blood pressure and heart rate variability. And so whenever people improve, okay, so this is a 30-day study, okay? So the first is initial, and this is percentage improvements, okay, of something called MAP, which is mean arterial blood pressure on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I know it's not labeled, I'm sorry, I forgot to do so. On the right-hand side is heart rate variability. And so it talks about the percentage of improvement. And so what we found is that these people actually had a significant improvement, what's very surprising is that they had sustained improvement the longer that they take it. So I didn't draw this out for another 3 months, but I wish I had. And so, going back to blood pressure and heart rate variability, this is something that's really difficult for people to understand. So I do not say to people that reset lowers your blood pressure. That's not what I'm saying here. Okay? What I'm saying here is that they had improvements, all right, of their heart rate as well as stabilization of blood pressure. So please don't say that reset can cure blood pressure issues, because this is not. Don't play doctor. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about is something I'm going to take the most time about. Is you guys know what this is? No? Okay. This is the most important thing for my life and the reason that I do what I do. So right now you're sitting in a room. You're sitting in a room, who's next to you? Are your friends next to you? Yeah, your friends are next to you. Feel pretty good. He's like, no. Who's that guy? I have no idea who that guy is. Your friends are next to you. And your friends are next to you, you feel good, right? You feel good? I hope you feel good. Do you feel fulfilled? Okay. And so, the reason that I'm putting this up is because I'm going to talk about all those studies, okay, and putting it into a very personal level, all right? I'm going to tell you why those studies are personal for me, and I want you to extrapolate how it's personal for you. So I just showed you a bunch of stuff on slides, right? And so none of that matters unless you understand this, okay? And what I want you to understand is that we as humans, we tend to live in different mindsets. And our mindsets are determined by the things that we go through in life. And me as a physician, I have a mindset of someone who helps. Who likes to help people? Yeah, everyone likes to help people, right? Who's a caregiver for someone who's disabled? Okay, so you guys know very well, right? And who has small children? Okay. Who has children that act like small children? Okay. And so we understand is we live in a world where there's relationships, right? We have a relationship with the spouses, a relationship with the children. Okay, and as we think about the things that we go through on a daily, what we really have is a decision. And our decisions is to what are we going to be doing today? So you wake up, does everyone wake up with a purpose, or they just go through life automatically? Purpose. Who goes through life automatically? I did.
Us too.
Well, I'm sure, I will guarantee you that 3/4 of this room goes through life automatically, okay? You think you live your life with a purpose, but you really have to understand something. Whenever we study these patients, and I hate it when I put someone into a study and they think they're a statistic, because they're not, okay? So the first thing I want you to understand, I want you to, first of all, give a round of applause to everyone that participated in the study. They're not here, but please give a round of applause. Because each one of these people is very special to me, and now they are special to you. They entered the study on their own will because of something that I said. I said that what we are going to be looking for this study is going to be presented to people in a room who are super passionate about their health. Are you guys super passionate about the participants' health?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I am as well. How about this side of the room? I didn't hear anything. Trey. Okay. And so, as I present statistics, you guys understand that these are just statistics, but every person has their own story. Each one of you have your own stories, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I have my own story too. And then as we go through life, if we wake up every day, we wake up and it's like, you know what, I want to live in this zone. What zone do we live in every day? Do we live in, can you put that slide up again? Do we live in the zone of pool, in the zone of, in what I call a pool of distraction because it's blue? Are you floating in the pool of distraction? All right, are you on the moat of demand or are you on the island of fulfillment? How many people think that they're in their island of fulfillment more than 50% of the time? Not that many people, right? How many people know what fulfills them? Okay. And how many people know what distracts them? Okay. As we go through life, there's several things that distract us, right? They distract us from progress, and they distract us from the things we're meant to do. And as you're sitting here next to your friends, you're thinking, man, Dr. Ruan is putting all this clinical data, and what you're thinking is, man, he's going to talk about all this clinical data and how we can heal the world. But that's not what it is. What I want you to understand is as you talk to the people, and as you extrapolate the data from my research, understand that this is how I approach every patient. I put them in this pool, and I said, hey, are you living in a zone of distraction or a zone of demand? Most people live in a zone of demand. So I asked earlier, how many people are caregivers for disabled? Okay, so you would say most of the time you're in the zone of demand because there's a lot of demands as you're caregiving for someone, right? As you're a mother or a father taking care of a child, taking care of a parent. And so what happens is these zones of distractions and demand, they're the root cause of every disease that we know, okay? Diabetes, hypertension, Alzheimer's disease, memory loss. It's no surprising that I think there's 6 women who raise their hands that they take care of a disabled person. Y'all have the highest risk of diabetes, hypertension, memory loss, okay? And these are the people that were actually in the studies. How many people do you think are actually caregivers in the study? More than 50% of our study participants are actually caregivers for someone else who's either less fortunate or disabled. And so if the pull and distraction and the mode of demand is the root cause of so many different things that are in life, how do we get to the island of fulfillment? And that's what you have to do when you talk about these things. So I'm going to go back into my studies for a bit. And I'm going to talk about that population I did at the very, very beginning, the memory loss population. That is a very emotional population for me, okay? Is there a cure for Alzheimer's disease? No. There's 2 main medicines that we have, and they may or may not progress towards Alzheimer's disease. You guys know billions of dollars were spent on trying to figure out what can cure Alzheimer's disease. They even tried to find a vaccine for the protein that gets deposited in the brain that is associated with Alzheimer's disease. What they found, they actually kill people faster. All right? And the reason is because in medicine, no one takes time to look at this. You don't see this in the doctor's office. You probably see it in my office, actually. We don't see this in the doctor's office. It's because whatever the originating incident was caused them to go into that zone of demand or zone of distraction, not in the zone of fulfillment. And so when you think about these people who have memory loss, they're terrified. They come into the clinic and they're scared crapless, okay? And they have like, we really got to be doing something. I really want to enter this trial to see what we can do. And these people aren't statistics, they're actual people that are sitting there in my chair, a lot of them with tears running down their face, as they're doing this EEG cap, and they're doing a 22-minute test, they can't complete the last half of it because they don't feel like they can because they're not fast enough. Understand? Okay. Half these people actually can finish it, but they choose not to because what it forces them to do is to recognize themselves, okay, instead of feeling the need to help someone else. And so, as we're looking at this, let's talk about the people with attention deficit or obsessive compulsive disorder or depression and anxiety. All these scores that I pulled up people, what do you think they're going for? These people have a very similar methodology to life, and what they are always in is that zone of distraction and zone of demand. And as we hang out on those islands right here, as we hang out there, what we are seeing is that in medicine, the diseases that are not curable, okay, is because no one talks about the initial trauma that's relating to the disease progression that we are now, all right? And so, I do what I do is because of this, because it's my passion. And the reason why I'm spending the most time talking about this, because this is the most important slide for you guys. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, as you're talking about, oh, I got this doctor, this chief medical advisor, and he's giving me all this data, look at the depression data, and look at the dementia data that we have, this is a really awesome product. Before all that, before you say all that, what are they fulfill? What fulfills that person in life? And then just talk about that, okay? Because if you just talk about that, you're good, because you put them into that zone of fulfillment. But then you have to do it to yourself first. And so when we have this data looking at the blood pressure and the ADD and the concentration and all these different things and different scoring systems, these have been studied over and over again by different pharmaceutical companies, by different companies looking at supplements, by different companies trying to look at, so the reason I'm on this slide, because I'm going to point out Yale and Brown, those are two major colleges, right? So Yale and Brown actually came together to look at the population. So all the population studies, even the ones that are done on veterans, are based on a diagnosis with a million other different causes, without trying to find the root cause. So the reason that people come up to me and ask me what Reset does is that, well, it does a lot, but what it truly does is it can significantly help someone get into that zone of fulfillment if they let it. Okay, if you let it. Understand? Awesome. And so when you talk to someone about calms, yeah, it's gonna help you sleep, it helps with anxiety and depression, all this good stuff. Dr. Ron said it in the big research. Okay, what it really does, I want to tell you from the heart, and what I really see in the clinic, is that we have some crazy success stories within 1 or 2 days. Okay, we have a veteran, 82 years old, in the Navy. First time he slept more than 8 hours in the last 22 years. Okay, and then we're able to find out through mind-body meditation that he actually had an original trauma that's well before his naval years. And once we addressed it, he got a whole lot better. So once again, it's a multidimensional approach. It's not take a product and feel good, all right? It's that this is a tool that allows for that fulfillment, improves quality of life, all right? And so we're saving lives, improving quality of life. And I want to talk to you about another person, because I think stories are more powerful, right? But I want to talk to you about another person who's able to sit down and recognize his family members for the first time in 5 years. All right? I want you to talk about another person who is in the late 60s, had a traumatic brain injury 27 years ago, but part of the traumatic brain injury is that she was sexually assaulted, and she blamed herself for 27 years for being raped in that incident. And that we were able to address that. Yes, there's hemp involved and there's other things involved. We were able to sit down and address it. She was able to finally forgive, and then all of a sudden her memory come back. She's no longer diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. She moved from assisted living to independent living, and now back home, okay? And so that's a good story. Y'all have some really good stories you tell me, but these are the things that we're seeing. It actually makes me very emotional when I talk about it, is because these are the people who are coming in, they're sitting in front of me, and they look different. We have another lady who came in and was finally wearing makeup for the first time in 10 years. She's like, I actually went and bought makeup because I feel like I present myself to the world for the first time. Okay, so that's really powerful as well, right? And then finally, I want to talk to you about something that I didn't do a study for. But we do work with a subset of people with eating disorders, okay? And so people with eating, that's really common, and people with eating disorders all have some sort of triggers that they may or may not know that's stemming from either childhood or even in utero and pre-birth and stuff like that. And so what we're seeing in this population is that they're also finally getting sleep. When you are sleeping, your body goes into this healing waves, and we call these delta waves in the brain. And these healing waves balance your hormones, is able to balance the neurotransmitters enough where they're finally able to accept some advice and start working with these people. So in my practice, we have Jenny, she's my mind-body medicine practitioner. So she works with this population, and when we were formulating what Calm is today, and today is like version 17, that she was on version 2. We were able to start working with her, and we were able to resolve a lot of issues that she had and she finally started gaining some weight, thank God. And then, but we were able to take that and build a program that's around it as well. So, so what Calm is and what Reset is has really made me look at medicine and healing people in a completely different way. And what we're doing is we're actually making programs on the national level right now to get to the root cause by looking at trauma as the initial event that causes all chronic disease. So,
Yeah.
So who took pictures of the slides? Okay, so as you're sharing this, please put some personality into it like I just did, hopefully. And then on Instagram and stories and whatever. And the reason I say put some personality into it, because this is personal for me, and it's personal for you, and it's personal for all the people who were in the actual studies, because they volunteered their time, and a lot of them have nowhere else to go to be in the studies, right? And we're able to give them that layer of hope and guidance, and I'm really thankful for that. And I'm really thankful for Paul Rogers for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Austin Tice, for renting